to add one new member to the QSMP. So welcome everyone to the QSMP elections 2023. Sorry, that wasn't supposed to play. I don't know what that played. The QSMP elections of 2023. Keep in mind, and I have to preface with this, this is going to be an important event that anyone can join in. I do have to preface this with keep in mind this is only done for entertainment purposes, so keep that in mind. However, let me explain to you what an election means. QSMP, and this is me out of character, okay? This is me out of this is me out of the Quackity character, okay? QSMP is essentially, after monitoring all players for 2 months, we believe it's time to give power to the people. So what does this mean? What does this imply? I will explain to you right now. First things first is we need to talk about the selection of upcoming authority. Sorry, I'm going to move myself. The selection of upcoming authority. What does this mean? What implications does this have? We'll explain it all here right now. Number one is the introduction of this. The Federation has determined the citizens of Quesadilla Island are ready to elect their president, and every resident of the island who is in QSMP holds the right to run for president. Okay? Yeah, we got it. Are we? Do we understand? Is it good? Okay, perfect. That's part number one. Next part, and I don't know why it's not showing me my slide. This should have my slide ready. I'm sorry. Anyways, next up, what does this imply? So we want to give players a way to have an incentive of actually making decisions that are important in QSMP, which is a very, very fun part of this experiment as a whole. The new president, among other things, can propose new rules in the server, can propose the addition of mods, can propose the removal of mods, can propose public works for the community, can propose force of law in situations. This is having, you know, proposing law, and they are able to add one new member to the QSMP. The person who gets chosen as president has the ability to add one new member of their choice to a QSMP. Of course, all these implications will be talked about in private, but yeah. Yeah. So if someone runs for president and they win, all these implications are going to be part of, you know, the position of power. Not everyone has to run, of course. It's only people who are interested in running and getting votes and whatnot. And yeah, these are some of the big ones. There's also other things involved, but they are these are some of the benefits of power within the server, which is going to be very, very interesting. Keep in mind, of course, guys, all people and all these rules, the additions and removals of mods, they're going to be talked about with the creators beforehand, you know, with the Federation, and that's going to be an important part too. So that's going to be very exciting. Next up, of course, is give me 1 second. Next up is the voting. So the voting, we want to essentially split it in a very just manner. Of course, QSMP residents are very important to the voting process, which is why they get 50% of the votes. The community voting is also very important. We're going to let the community hold a 35% of the vote, and then leaderboard points, which we will get to in a second. First things first is the QSMP residents. Every QSMP resident has the right to 2 votes. Every person on the QSMP has the right to 2 votes each. They can either put those 2 votes to one player or split these votes into 2. So they're allowed to, you know, if let's say I want to vote for creator A, I want to give him my vote, but I also want to give creator B my vote, I can split my vote and give 1 to each, or I can just give creator A 2 of my votes, which is a very important part of the process. Remember, in the overall essential voting percentages, the QSMP residents, all the votes for the QSMP residents are going to count for 50%. Can the eggs vote? No, because the eggs aren't old enough to vote. The eggs are not old enough to vote. So this would only include the QSMP creators. Next up is community voting. So the community, aka you guys, will also have the 35% of all votes. So you guys are also going to be able to get votes and you know, place your votes. Voting days will be announced very soon. Voting days will be announced eventually, and we will tell you guys when voting days are. But we'll give you guys a public poll where you guys can vote for whoever you would like to vote for. We are going to explain this this distribution of votes in the document. It's all available in the document. Everything, this is all summarized because all the information is in the document right here. Explains it in more detail. So keep that in mind. Which we will make available in PDF form as soon as most creators get their manual. This is the election manual. So, of course, and remember, guys, remember, all the creators will have to, you know, to campaign for this, but we'll get to that in a second. In-game leaderboard points are very important because a good leader holds a lot of different qualities. First, we have defense quality. The defense quality is the creator who's taken the most damage in-game. So whoever gets the most damage in-game gets 2.5% of the in-game votings. Community means longest time playing on the server. The representative and the candidate who gets the community trait is because they've spent the longest time playing on the server. Longest distance travel, aka walk, sprint, swim, that helps for communication. The candidate needs to communicate around the island, know their way around the island, so that will give them votes too. Wealth is reserved for a politician who keeps a nation wealthy, aka a politician who mines the most diamonds, which is an important part of the process as well. Security is the people who kill the most mobs. A good politician, of course, needs to keep the nation safe. And diplomacy, which is a good politician is a good diplomat. The politician that has the most villager trades. So this will incentivize the candidates to do more for their community, the Quesadilla Island community, and they will be receiving votes for this at the very end, which will be tallied and which will be counting for the politician who is running for president. Next up is, yeah, like I said, each leaderboard point counts for 2.5% of the total vote. The 6 of them together sum to 15%, and these points will be proportionally distributed to candidates as a percentage of the vote, which is a very important part of it. This is so exciting. I'm so excited, by the way. I'm so fucking excited. Is anyone as excited as I am? This is so fucking cool. I'm so excited. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I gotta keep my composure. Next up is voting is a private right. So this is where things get interesting. Voting is a private right. No one's allowed to incentivize you to forcefully vote for anyone. So creators are meant to keep their finalized vote private. This is a very important part because creators, we won't know the actual results of the election until the very final day. So I can say that I'm going to vote for creator A. I could be lying. We don't know that. But keep in mind that on the day of the results, all votings are going to be made public. So on the days of the results, all votings are going to be made public. And the politicians and the people who ran for candidates to presidents will find out who told them the truth and who didn't. So keep that in mind. The most important part here for a candidate is to get to the position of power. That is one of the most important parts. So keep that in mind. The electoral process is a very important one. What does a politician do? What does someone who runs for president do, essentially? I will tell you. I will very much tell you. So, submitting the candidacy requests, all creators who want to run for president of QSMP must file in a form which contains their name, you know, in-game name, country of birth, languages spoken, past work experience, a short paragraph on what makes them a good candidate for presidency, a short paragraph on what is something they love about Quesadilla Island, and a short paragraph on something they would change about Quesadilla Island. This information is very, very important. And this information will be reviewed by the Federation. The Federation will review requests and accept or reject these submissions within the 24-hour period. And within 24 hours, everyone will be told if they're accepted or denied. There's really no reason to deny any creators, but the Federation wants to double check anyways. So yeah, they will be notified about this. The inauguration of campaign is very important. If the candidate is accepted for his campaign, sorry, I'll read this. Accepted candidates must fulfill obligatory, how do you say that? How do you say that word? Obligatory campaign requirements. Failure to adequately fulfill these during campaign will result in prompt disqualification. Votes will be rendered null for candidates that are disqualified, which we're going to talk about, which is another very interesting part of this entire process, is the disqualification, but we'll get to that in a second. The campaign requirements are the following. It's really easy. Campaign materials and campaign inauguration day. What does campaign materials mean? It means the following. So campaigns, of course, kind of like marketing, right? The politicians need to make themselves known, which I like to think that there is going to be one or another person that's going to surprise us with their candidacy. What this means, essentially, is that someone who we wouldn't imagine running for president may run. And, you know, at the end of the day, what's going to be important is who wins in the end. So campaigns must be associated with brandable material provided by the Federation Design Bureau. So all creators will be assigned a team to help create logos, designs, and campaign materials. This to make sure that their campaign materials follows all the requirements and the consistency of the Federation. And they will be assigned a team for this, which is really important. Campaign inauguration day is very simple. From June 17th to June 23rd, all the candidates who had their submissions accepted will go ahead and inaugurate their campaign with a big speech, and they are allowed to start campaigning. What does campaigning mean? Campaigning essentially means start your campaign strategy and get votes. At the end of the day, that's the most important part, is to get people on your side and get votes. That's an important part. From June 17th to June 23rd, that is when campaign inauguration begins. Next up are debate nights. We will be having debate nights with the creators. We'll be having 3 debate nights. These are semi-final. We'd like to finalize these dates. So June 23rd is going to be the first debate night. June 26th is going to be the second debate night. And July 5th is going to be the final debate night. These debates are going to be really important for everyone to see different perspectives of different candidates and see what their proposals are for the server. Remember, the candidates are going to be very, very important for this process because they are allowed to propose new rules, remove or add mods, and essentially, maybe potentially, add another person to the SMP, which is going to be really interesting. But yeah, the questions are going to be submitted by the community. This is going to be a very important part of the process, is the community is going to be submitting these questions. Second, and actually, this is the most important part. This is the most important part. We understand the dangers of politics. We understand for a candidate how dangerous, you know, running for president can be. Keep in mind, this is all virtual, by the way. This is all in QSMP. This is all exclusively in QSMP. Candidates, as soon as they run for president, have, and this is a part that can get spicy, they have 2 provisional lives. From the moment they are accepted for candidate to the day of the results of the election, they have 2 provisional lives. And one of the manners of disqualification can be assassination. So, from June 12th, which is today, which they can submit today, till July 7th, was the very last day, candidates have 2 provisional lives. If they die or they are assassinated, they get disqualified from the race to president. Candidates need to consider here how they're going to essentially protect themselves. There's candidates that are more stronger than others. There's candidates that are less stronger than others. It is important for them to strategize and make sure that they don't get killed during this process, whether it's a game mechanic or whether they get killed by another player. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Another form of disqualification can be failure to show up to at least 1 debate. Debates are very important. So as long as you show up to at least 1 debate, you are eligible to not be disqualified. Failure to fulfill campaign requirements, the logo and the materials can lead to disqualification, and any decision made by the Federation to disqualify candidates. It's a very important part. Subject, election night. Election night will be on July 8th. Election night is going to be a very, very big event because we're going to finally find out which creator of the QSMP is going to be the very next president. An important part is we're not going to allow fraud. There's not going to be any unforeseen plot twists. This is going to be a very natural process, a very real process as well. So keep that in mind. This is going to be a very, very real process. No fraud, no tampering with the votes. Just so you guys know, when it comes to voting, creators are also going to be able to vote, just like in real life. Creators are given this page at the very end, which mine stays blank, but you'll see. Creators are given this page, and let me show you guys what this means. This secret code is unique to you. Do not share. This vote will be requested on the day of voting and is your unique identity to vote. This code will show up here. It's going to be stuck here. And like I said, every creator is going to get a unique document with their unique code so that on the very day of voting, their identity stays unique and no one can take their vote. It is very important for creators to keep this specific page very secret. And like I said, all creators are going to be receiving this document, and all the different stuff is like stated here. So with like details and all that. So that's very important. Of course, all candidates will be present for this, and the new president. This is going to be a very exciting day for the QSMP, is having the new president here. The elected candidate will have the chance to address Quesadilla Island. And guided by the Federation, the new president will assume the presidency and fulfill their responsibilities.